This is the last new shape that we're going to learn in Unit 10. It's computing the volume of a sphere. So go ahead and write sphere here. And as the warm-up for this, we're going to do a couple of expressions that you may or may not have seen before. So let's go ahead and take 48 cubed. Let's make sure we can do that on the calculator. So let me bring that up. So let's just type this in, 48, and then cubing. You can find that a couple of places, but the easiest place to do a cube, or any exponent for that matter, other than squaring because it's got its own dedicated key, is this caret key right here. So the minute you do that, it drops the base down and it makes a place for us to put the exponent. So we're going to put a 3 right there, hop out of there, go ahead and hit enter, and we get, holy cow, that's huge, 110,592. So 110,592. So there's our answer for that one. Let's do the next one, 4/3 pi. Now there are two ways to do this one. I like 4 divided by 3, so there's 4/3. And then if we just hit a pi, that's going to multiply it by pi. So that's going to give us our answer of 4.188. Again, we'll round to the nearest hundredths, so that's going to be enough to bump that up. So this is going to be 4.19. Whoops, 4.19. I'll go ahead and circle that just to show that you can do it the other way. Again, this is a little bit more of a hassle. I'm going to hit alpha F1 to bring up that fraction palette there. We're going to do 4 here, we're going to do 3 here, and then we're going to do a pi over here. Again, this looks awesome, but it gives us the same answer. I just find that a heck of a lot easier to type in. But like we said before, realize that this is going to do the 4 divided by 3, then it's going to times by pi. If we wanted to divide the 4 by both the 3 and the pi, we'd want to put those in parentheses. Okay, let's do the next one. Let's do 14.5, and again, we're going to cube that. So we hit the caret key, we're going to put a 3 there, hop out, and hit enter. So we get 3048.625. So we're going to bump that up to a 3 right there. So 3048.63, 3048.63. And we're going to circle that. No units to worry about right here. And now it looks like we're going to put all this stuff together. So let's take a look at that. Let's type this in. Again, because this is all multiplication here, I'm going to do the 4 divided by 3. So 4 divided by 3. And then we're going to multiply it by pi. And then we're going to do parentheses, and we're going to do 14.5, and we're going to cube that. So raise that to the 3rd power. Now, when you hit that caret key, it's going to stay up there in the exponent until you drop down. So we have to hit the right arrow, and then we can close our set of parentheses. Now again, taking a look at that, it looks just like this right here. If you wanted to put the 4/3 in like we did up above, totally okay. That would be just fine. But this is a quicker way to do it. So we get 12,770.050. So not enough to change that to a 6. So 12,770.05. 12,770.05. And we'll circle that and we'll be done. There's our warm-up. Now, one last question here. What is another name for a sphere? So I've got some examples of spheres down below. So you could call it a ball, or you could call it a globe or something like that. Okay, whoops, globe. So a sphere is a fancy word for a globe or a ball. It's a perfectly three-dimensional circle. So I'm going to show you the formula for this. Volume of sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. That's it. And you've got to make sure you memorize that just like you memorize the other formulas from this unit. Make sure you've got that memorized because you've got to have it for the test and the end of the year test. So I'm not going to give you a proof of this. If you end up taking calculus, okay, calculus is usually one of the last classes that students take either in high school or in college. Great class, ton of fun, really cool math and calculus. You'll get to see a proof of why this formula works out the way it does. So the awesome thing about this formula is you only need one dimension. The only thing that you need here, so notice the volume equals 4/3 pi. Those are all just numbers. The only thing you need is the radius. So even though it looks complicated, it's got a fraction in it, it's got cubing in it, it's actually the nicest one because all you need to know about a sphere is the radius. That will tell you how big it is. It tells you how far it goes in every dimension. Unlike a cylinder where we've got the circular shape at the bottom and then we have to know how tall those straight sides are, The only thing we need to know about a sphere is what its radius is. So the formula again is 4/3 pi r cubed. So let's do these problems down below. It says find the volume of each. Oh, I've got an error here. That should say sphere. Again, don't forget the units. So we want to make sure that we're doing the units right now. If you would write down the formula and say it in your mind when you do the assignment, it'll get it in your head and you won't forget it. So the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out what the radius is, and it just gives it to us. So we've got 4/3 pi, and then we're going to do 48 cubed. Again, write down the units. This is a volume, so this is going to be meters cubed, and then we'll type this into the calculator. So let's see what we've got here. We're going to do 4 divided by 3. That's the 4/3. Whoops. 4 divided by 3, and then we've got the pi. So we'll do the pi, and then we'll do parentheses 48, and we're going to cube that. So we're going to raise that to the third power, hop outside, close the parentheses. There's our 4/3. That'll compute the number 4 divided by 3, then the pi, and then 48 cubed. So we'll hit enter on this one. Now notice, because we're cubing things, these are gigantic numbers. This is 463,246.686. That's going to be enough to bump that up to a 7, or sorry, up to a 9. So let's see, we've got 463, 246 point, and remember this was a 0.69, and again, because we've already got our units on there, and I'm going to put a comma there just so it's a little easier to read, because we've already got our units on there, we're not going to get docked any points on this when we take a test or quiz on this. So again, volume formula. Volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So we're going to have 4/3 pi, and then the radius is, that is a radius, so we're going to do a 42, and we're going to cube that. Now the cool thing about this is, you'll notice that this formula is exactly the same as the other one. The only thing I need to do is change that from from an 8 to a 2. But before I type it in the calculator, remember, we want to get this right, so we're going to do meters cubed. So we'll get that right, and then I'm going to hit second enter. That will recall that last one, and then the only thing that I need to do is hop right on top of that 8, and then let's make that a 2. So I'm going to hit a 2 right there. If I want to, I can hop out on the end there. So this looks perfect. There's our 4/3, there's our pi, there's our 42. We hit enter, and there's our answer. And notice that this is enough to round that up. So this is going to be a 0.09. So this is going to be 310,000. I'll put a comma there. 339, and then it was 0.09. Okay, and again, we've got the units on there, so we don't have to worry about that. Asterisk on this one, make sure you catch that this is a radius, or sorry, this is a diameter, and we've got to figure out the radius. So the radius on this one would be, let's see, half of 29, 1/2 of 29, or 29 divided by 2. So 29 divided by 2, cut that in half, we get 14.5. So the radius on this one is 14.5 feet. So again, the volume formula is 4/3. 4/3, let's get that down there, 4/3 pi r cubed. So this is going to be 4/3 pi, and then we're going to have 14.5 cubed. Okay, let's see what we got here. So we got, wait a minute, does this one look familiar? Hey, that is the same thing, okay? That's what we did earlier. So this formula, with those numbers plugged in, produces that starter question right there, that warm-up question. So we've already got our answer for that. Just for the heck of it, let's just go ahead and type it in again. 4 divided by 3, we'll make sure we get this right. And then we've got the pi, and then I'm going to do 14.5, and I'm going to cube that. Now, I didn't put any parentheses on this one, and I'm going to show you that that does work. I think it's a bad idea, bad habit to get in, but it does produce the exact same answer. So we get 12770.05, and again, if I circled that and didn't put the units on there, I'm going to lose some points. So remember, this is in feet, so this would be cubic feet. So there's our answer. Now let's take a look at this one right here. It says find the volume of a sphere whose diameter is 18 feet. No diagram, so let's write down the formula. 4/3 pi r cubed. So on this problem, that's going to be 4/3 pi, and then we're going to have 9 cubed. Now, where did the 9 come from? Well, the 9 came from the fact that they said diameter. So if the diameter is 18, we're going to divide that by 2, so the radius is 9. So this is the right formula. Now again, to make sure I get this right, I'm going to write feet cubed. I'm going to have this all set for what the answer is. We'll type that in and we'll see what we get. So we get 4 divided by 3, and then we've got the pi, and then we've got 9 cubed. So I'm going to cube that and hop out there. Again, if you want to use the parentheses, that's totally okay. We get 3053.628. That's going to be enough to bump that up to a 3. So this is going to be 3053.63, and we've already got the units on there. Okay, last thing I want to take a quick look at is the assignment. Again, typical diagrams right here on the first part. Same thing here. Notice that we've got a hemisphere right here and we've got a hemisphere right here. Remember, a hemisphere is the word for half a sphere, just like semicircle is the word for half a circle. So let's take a look here. A description right there, and then it says find the missing, this should say missing radius, find the missing radius and round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So let's take this one right here. Again, the formula is 4/3 pi r cubed. They give us the volume, so this is going to be 120 4/3 pi, and then we don't know the radius. So let's finish this off. So here's what we're going to do on this one. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by 3/4. Those are going to cancel. So we get pi and we get r cubed here. This is going to cancel, so that's going to be a 30. And so we end up with 3 times 30 would be 90. Now if you need to, we could do this. Let's do 3 divided by 4 times 120, and we end up with 90. Okay, so we're good there. Now we need to get rid of the pi, so we're going to divide by pi. So we get r cubed equals 90 divided by pi. So let's see what that is. 90 divided by pi. So there's the pi. So we get 28.6478. 28.6478. Now, we need to get rid of the cube on this one. So in order to do that, you'll remember that we learned how to do cube roots. So we're going to take the cube root of both sides. So the cube root undoes cubing, so we get r over here. Now, to find a cube root, I think we mentioned this before, but as a reminder, the cube root can be found underneath the math key. There are a couple of other ways to do it, but the math key is the easiest. So we're going to hit math. The cube root is right here. It's number 4. So that's the cube root of, we could type this in or we could grab the answer. So I'm going to hit second and the negative key for answer. Hop out from underneath there and hit enter. So the cube root of 28.647 is 3.059. So we're going to round this to the nearest hundredth. So we're going to bump that up. So that's going to be 3.06. So this is 3.06, and then you've got to have the units. So don't circle this. This was in inches, so this is going to be 3.06 inches for the radius. Okay, there's the answer to that one. Good luck on the assignment.